Welcome to this video about the Uncovering Roman Carlisle Summer Dig 2025. Once again taking place at Carlisle Cricket Ground, just south of Hadrian's Wall. A Roman fort at Carlisle was founded in the AD 70s, and in AD 122 Hadrian's Wall was constructed. The excavation site just sits south of Hadrian's Wall near the giant fort of Uxalleninum, which held 1,000 cavalry troops. Since the dig began, the site has become world famous for its amazing collection of intaglios, bone hairpins and needles, and also the amazing stone heads which were recovered in 2023. These stone faces, part of the 3rd century building, have featured on Digging for Britain in recent years on the BBC. An inscription found on site is thought to mention the Empress Julia Domna, who came with her husband, the Emperor Septimius Severus, to campaign in northern Britannia in the early 3rd century. Since 2017, the lead archaeologist Frank Jacko has been putting together a plan of this incredibly large building, thought to measure 50 metres by 60 metres. As our archaeological knowledge grows, the site plan changes, but this illustration is an excellent one just to get an idea for what the site may have looked like. On a series of mild weeks in February 2025, the team looked at the central area of the heated part of the building, including these amazing tiles, all stamped with IMP for Imperial. Could we infer that the Imperial stamp meant that the Emperor himself stayed in this very building? So in May 2025, the team returned for another 5-week dig on site, this time to look at the southern area just south of the main building. Under archaeological supervision, the overburden was removed from the site. Part of the area to be investigated had been looked at in 2024, but this new dig was going to be larger and expanded over new areas. In this excavation, the team were keen to look at a wooden structure just south of the Roman road, possibly a temple. Parts of the site that had been looked at in 2024 had been covered with a white membrane known as terram. This needed to be removed by hand before the archaeology could begin in earnest. A Roman road heading east-west had already been found in this little section, so it was good to see it revealed again after a season away. The road can be seen filled in grey here just on the far left of the picture. In 2024, outside this raised area, a possible column base was found, which may be what's left of a Jupiter column, which were quite popular in the late 2nd and early 3rd century. A replica of a Jupiter column with an original capital can be found at Cirencester Museum. The southern Roman road was located, and its fragments can be seen here, highlighted in red. Artifacts started to appear straight away, including these more recent finds. On the eastern side of the Imperial building, the walls still haven't been traced fully, so the team opened a trench here to try and look for what was remaining of the building. The later phases of the Roman site showed a surface covered with burning, possibly industrial use. Also 4 gaming counters were found, all inscribed with the owner's name, Coccus. Through gentle troweling, slowly but surely, the post pads found in 2024 started to be revealed again. Fragments of pottery, including red Samian, started to appear from the ground. This maker, with an eye to advertising, has put his name smack bang in the middle of the decoration. It was possible to make a connection with the people who made these storage jars so many years ago, as their finger marks were left in the clay.
Yes, it's got a stamp.
Got a stamp.
Yeah, we have a stamp.
Got a lovely rim on it.
And a lovely maker's stamp. Brilliant, just need to find the rest of it.
So beautiful.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Lovely, beautiful.
Yeah.
Samian was fired in huge kilns in Gaul, hence the need to put a potter's stamp on every piece. So we've got a nice tidy bit of amphora coming out. Amphora were used as storage vessels, bringing fish, sauce,
Nice
oil
side.
and wine throughout the empire.
Wow. Big one.
Spain to Carlisle.
Yeah.
Nice if the rest of the flagging is actually embedded.
Take it out.
Yeah, very nice. Oh, beautiful. It's going to be one of those days. The rain's come in quite heavy again, but no lightning. So everybody's dived out for tea break, which could be extended. You can see how flooded everything is in the trenches. So everyone's working really stoically, trying to get the site up and going, but it's just getting worse and worse. So fingers crossed for this afternoon. Famous last words. The weather's improved slightly now, but it was so bad on site, people were slipping, and Frank's had to call it sadly. So end of the day. Once the dry and sometimes sunny weather reappeared, the team could carry on exploring the raised area with its stone post pads, which would have held timber uprights. On the southern side of the trenches, the team were also looking at a possible portico for a large building which still remains inside the trench walls. And the small finds kept coming, including this beautiful coin, one of over 900 found on site. These lead seals are rather like the later wax seals put on mail and baggage to stop tampering. They give us a good clue to who was in the area and where the mail was being sent. Writing is not always common on site, so it's great to find this graffiti on a piece of amphora or storage vessel. This intaglio would have sat inside a ring. You can imagine the owner's annoyance when it fell out and was lost. The Hadrianic Roman road, excavated in 2021, was uncovered again. You can see the roadside boulders along its side. It was once thought to the south of the sacred area there was another column base. However, when the trench was taken back, a row of post pads appeared, meaning we possibly have a colonnade for another building to the south. On a hot day, the ice cream van made a welcome return to the site. Carbonised wood was found within the temple site, possibly a wooden box that had burned with its lock plate. Within the building debris, more fragments of metal started to appear.
It's always typical, it's under the stone.
If you put that, I'll put all that in a box so we just get it all.
Got it out.
Got tweezers as well.
Up on the metal detector as well.
I've got 2 traps. That's what I had.
So it's a bronze object, that's all we do.
Is there anything else left?
Other finds to appear was this beautiful symmetrical Roman brooch. To the north of the site, work continued looking for the missing eastern walls of this large Severan building. In 2022, the Roman drains of the building had already been looked at. These were opened up again to look for more of the building. You can see the slab that Stephen was working on in 2022 just on the right of this shot. Since the Roman Empire left, people had continued to live on the site, robbing the stone, eking out an existence, even burying their dead in the areas around what was the building. The weather wasn't always kind, but there was always an early tea break or a lunch to take before the weather blew over and work could start again. Fantastic Roman column came out a few weeks ago. Just sitting on site awaiting to be moved once again. It's drying out slowly from being underground for nearly 2,000 years. There's a nice metal object here in situ, which is brilliant to see. Another amazing find coming out at uncovering Roman Carlisle. Jane here surveying with a grid using the tried and tested chair method. And we have Nick happily filling in potholes with more water. As the dig progressed in the northeastern corner, the levels were taken down to reveal this amazing Roman plunge pool, revealing both the plug hole and the fallen plaster from the sides of the bath. One of the most intriguing things on site was a spread of amphora across the site, almost making up a crazy paving floor. Here Jan and Ollie are turning over the pieces the correct way to try and make a complete vessel. Many possibilities were put forward for this strange spread of amphora, including grave markers. Slowly the archaeologists and volunteers started to dig deeper, looking for the bases of the post pads that held this raised building. The team have had a fantastic find out, which is this beautiful piece of Roman Kenwood mixture, if you like, which is a mortaria. You can see the pouring spout there, and then there's the grit on the inside for the mixing, and that is just absolutely astonishing. With careful surveying of all the post pads that still remain on site, it was possible for Frank to draw up a plan of how the building may have stood, including small anterooms and a porch. Sitting between the two Roman roads, this timber building was probably plastered and painted to make it look like a stone building. The excavators also found these mysterious iron rings which could have been pipe collars. With the wooden pipes themselves burned away, you could see the carbonation around them. As the excavation continued, the post pads became more prominent in the ground. Also, to the eastern end of the building, it appears the team had discovered a possible altar or dais. Its Bossil stones, one with a square slot cut into it, may have formed the porch into the eastern end of the building. To the north of the trench, the team discovered this post-Roman kist burial cut into the Roman levels. Unfortunately, when excavated, no bones or grave goods were found. It was possible the grave was stumbled across in the medieval period and the grave goods and bones scattered. The interior soil of the kist burial was collected in the white buckets for sampling later to see if any evidence of what was in the grave, including grave goods, can be found. In the south ditch of the Hadrianic Road, a massive pile of broken amphora was found. These transport vessels, the amphora, were unglazed, meaning that any items shipped from southern Europe, such as smelly fish sauce, wine or olive oil, meant that the interior was tainted, so these were generally one-use items and thrown out once the contents had been decanted. It was quite a heavy task moving the fragments into the finds room to be cleaned and recorded. With the discovery of the plunge pool, it was now necessary to amend the plans of the building once again. In one of the trenches, a void opened up, and with careful investigation it resulted in the finding of Roman window glass at the bottom.
What have we got going on?
So we've just found almost nearly intact pot.
Amazing.
You can see some of the shards here that were on the top, and then we have this nice bottom. You can see the bottom here.
So
and
it's
then the
resting
rounding
on its side, is it?
Yeah, it's resting. Looks like it's resting on its side. We think it ends just around here, and so we're gonna kind of dig around it and then get some photographs and
Fantastic.
see if we can lift it out.
Cool. Oh well, I'll wait to see it come out. On the southern side of what would have been the wooden building, these rather strange L-shaped iron objects were found in a long row. They were lifted for further investigation, but were badly corroded. Badly corroded, isn't it?
It is. I'm just wondering how much of this bit I can save. Probably not much.
This amazing multi-tiered portable altar came out of the site, beautifully photographed by Anna Jacko here. There's a good possibility this building came to a violent end, as there's plenty of carbonised wood left over from its superstructure lying around. The drains, first discovered in 2022, can be clearly seen on the plan marked in blue. I'm just standing on top of the massive spoil heap that we have on site, which is one of the reasons quite people, when we give guided tours, say to us, oh well, why don't you uncover the whole site? Well, this massive spoil heap is everything we've got from all the weeks we've been digging. You can just see how massive it is and how high it is above the archaeology. Well, hey, and there's Kevin digging down in the north end of the trench. So we have to dig small areas, pile all the spoil up here, and then obviously just put it back and then dig in another area, simply to take all the spoil off in lorries to somewhere else and then put it back. It just isn't feasible, and we just simply don't have any more room for all the spoil, of which there is an awful lot. The more the team dug down, the more obvious it became how large these post pads were stacked. This area here would have formed the front portico of the temple. The area where I'm standing now probably was the central heart of the temple. The dais, or the statue of a god, would have stood around this point here. This fragment of Roman incense burner hints that the building may have been used for religious purposes.
Early tea break, as we've had another tropical downpour. So there's really only sort of me in the middle of the murk and Donald here, who's the only one that seems to be enjoying this weather.
Every single barrow just weighs 3 times as much as it normally should with all this water in it. The amphora fragments are all still here on the side of the sacred area with the post pads, and that's just been sponged down and looked at. There's a lovely bit of a handle of amphora there for this enormous vessel, bringing liquids in from much sunnier climes than we have today. Well, we have a lot of sample buckets here waiting to be wet sieved by the hard-working team, and those diggers escaping the wet weather, who shall not be named. Quite an important part of the process is the wet sieving, because the intaglios, bone hairpins and various other small items will actually come out from this process. So it's vital to the operational running of the whole site to have the wet sieving ongoing.
During a spell of wet weather, it was decided to put the marquee up, but the wind had other ideas and it soon came down again. We have Kevin here, one of the professional archaeologists, busy plotting in the plunge pool, which will be added to the plan of the site. The lowest part of the dig in the southwestern corner was most prone to flooding and became much of a swimming pool for a lot of the dig. However, the team did manage to get in there on the dry days. At the bottom of the screen now you can just see the remains of the second southern Roman road on site. Despite a rather watery few days towards the end of the dig, the team made good progress uncovering the post pads on this incredible wooden building. The deep pit in the centre of the picture is post-Roman and could date anything up to the 19th or even 20th century. It was removed and provided a good cross-section of the building platform the wooden building stood on. It just remains for me to say thank you very much to all those involved, professional archaeologists and volunteers alike. It's such a great community to be part of. Also to Carlisle Cricket Club for letting us dig, and hopefully we'll be back with another video and we'll be digging in 2026. Thanks for watching. I've done my best to make sure everything is correct, but any mistakes are my own.